So in this video, I'm going to show you one simple video that you could make today that will halve the amount of time you spend on sales calls, build trust with customers, and dramatically increase your close rate. But first, what percentage of the questions you get asked on a sales call do you get asked every time? Questions like, what's your process? How long does it take? How much does it cost? What are the benefits? How does it work? You'll most likely find that about 80% of the questions you get asked are the same on every call. And this can be incredibly draining as you'll find yourself answering the same things over and over again. You might only have 30 minutes with a client and you spend most of that time answering the same basic questions. And this is valuable time that should be used to ask your client questions to better understand their business, what problems they're trying to solve, and see if you're a good fit to solve it. You might get frustrated that the client's asking these basic questions because in your mind they should already know these if they're having the call. Maybe they're not where they need to be, and you start to wonder, are they ready to buy from you if they don't already know the basics? Now imagine you have a sales call and a potential client not only knows the answers to these questions, but they've learned them all from you. Not only would they be much closer to buying from you, but the sales call would be much more productive and probably a lot shorter. This is why incorporating the 80% video into your sales process is so important, and this concept comes from Marcus Sheridan's book, The Ask You Answer. The concept's simple. Brainstorm the top 10 questions you get asked regarding a specific service on a sales call. Now narrow it down to the top 7 asked questions and answer each one in an individual video. Next, take all of these videos and combine them into one long video, and this is your 80% video as it covers the questions you get asked 80% of the time. The individual videos also give you a bank of great social media content that can be shared anywhere that your customers will see them. The first place to put the full 80% video is on the relevant service page, so that when customers are learning more about your service, the video is well placed and easy to find. Next, implement your 80% video into your sales process. Make sure ahead of a sales call that you send the video to the prospect, and I'll share Marcus's tactic for doing this in a minute. But first, what if you offer multiple services like most businesses do? So if you offer multiple services, then it's important to create an 80% video for each service, as the questions you get asked will of course be different depending on the service. For example, we have an 80% video for our website video packages, and we also have one for our funnel videos because they're very different services. So how long should the 80% video be? Well, everybody's so concerned that videos should be as short as possible, and there's some truth to this. If you waffle on and take ages to get to the point, then people are going to lose interest. But it's also important to answer the questions as concisely but thoroughly as possible. This means you're not rambling on with non-relevant information. Your answers are well thought out, concise and thorough. By the end of the video, the client should have a very clear understanding and just think to themselves, okay, I get it now. So rather than worry about how long the video is, just ask yourself if you've given a clear answer to the question. If someone's about to take a sales call and spend £2,000, £10,000 or £100,000, they won't mind watching a longer video to make sure they understand the service. Next, how should the 80% video look? It's true that the quality of the video can have a perceived link to the quality of your service. What I mean by this is if the video is shaky and the audio isn't clear, then this can negatively impact the perceived quality of your service. So make sure the video and audio is good quality. Having said that, getting your video finished, published, and sent out to prospects is much better than never getting it finished because you're overly worried about how it looks and sounds. And it doesn't need to be complicated. You simply talking to the camera, covering each question in detail is a great starting point. Of course, you can improve your video over time, for example by including B-roll shots of you and your team and service to make it clear what you're talking about and the video more visually appealing. Unless you have these skills in-house, it would be worth hiring a professional video team to help with this. So you're almost ready to create your 80% video, but there's just a few common mistakes you need to know about first so you can avoid them. The first big mistake people make when creating their video is they think like a business and not their customer. This isn't another chance to try and sell to them. Actually think about questions and concerns they have and try to answer them. If you use the video as a chance to promote your service and talk about how good you are, your customers will switch off. Really think about your customers here and what they need to know. It's not about you. So be as transparent as possible. This brings me to the next point. State your questions like a buyer would and not the company. So for example, I run a video production company. Instead of stating, this is why you don't need an About Us video, I would state it like a customer. Isn't About video right for my business? You can see how this is an open and unbiased question. So always keep the customer in mind when stating and answering questions. Lastly, I want to share one of the biggest benefits of this type of video. So it's happened to every salesperson. You have a call with a prospect and you don't make the sale because they need to discuss it with their business partner. When this happens, very often the sale fizzles out and never happens. One of the biggest benefits of the 80% video is you're able to influence the decision of other decision makers who weren't present on the call. So make sure that your video goes out to every decision maker so their questions and concerns are answered. This means they won't put a delay on moving forward with the sale. Now there's one thing I haven't mentioned. It's very hard to speak to the camera clearly and concisely, even when you're an expert on the subject. That's why I highly recommend that you write down all of your answers, practice some, and then use a teleprompter to help you deliver them. So watch this video here to learn how to use a teleprompter like a pro in 3 simple steps, and this will make you 10 times better on camera.